Hi, it's Ryan from Fowler Photography, and in this video I'm going to be doing a review of the Peak Design Capture Clip V3, then put it up against the Sunwayfoto CQC-01 and 02. So let's get into it. Now, just quickly before we jump into the video, make sure you stay tuned to the very end because I'm going to be giving away one of these brand new Sunwayfoto CQC-02 camera clips. Make sure you watch right to the end for all the details, so let's get into the video. Our location for this video is the beautiful city of Melbourne. We've been here for the past few days just testing and recording this review for you, and it's such a beautiful city. We're here on Australia Day weekend and there's been so much happening. We've been to parades, protests, quite a few of the city's landmarks and quite a few photography locations. It's an absolutely beautiful city to visit, especially during spring and summer, as well as autumn. You get those really beautiful autumnal colors, and overall it makes for the perfect location to film this video for you. So I've had the Peak Design Capture Clip V3 for the past couple of months. I've been using it both at home and traveling. So I've had a little bit of time to actually experience and use this capture clip. And then once we've reviewed that, I'm actually going to compare it to this Sunwayfoto version. And there are two versions of this, but I will explain those a little bit more once we get into that comparison section. So the Capture Clip V3 it's actually really good. The reason that I got it was because I was trying to figure out a way to carry my camera on me, to have quick access to it, but without losing a hand to really carry it in. So I wanted to have something that was bag attachable, and there were a few ideas I thought about, maybe sort of customizing the bag, maybe chopping the bottom strap down here, putting on a black rapid connection clip, as I use the dual harness of theirs for my commercial work. But that was just going to be a bit of a nuisance, and the capture clip and that Peak Design idea is great for carrying the camera, but you can't attach it to a tripod, so it wasn't overly functional while traveling. So in research, that's where I found this, the Peak Design clip, and the reviews were a little bit mixed on it, but I thought it's a solution that a lot of people may find useful, and mainly that I was potentially going to find it useful. So I really wanted to try it, see if it worked, and if it did, then I decided that I'd do a review on it. So in the past 2 months, there's been most of it I've really loved about it, but there's been a few little niggly bits that have sort of bugged me, but overall it's been a very positive experience. So what I really like about this is the small form factor, the really nice sleek design. It's got some good rounded curves. It's pretty functional in terms of the locking feature, where you just turn the little lock, as well as pushing in the button to release your camera. And I've been using this with occasionally cameras that do have quite a bit of weight. So right now we're filming on the X-T3, and I've had the 50 to 140mm f2.8 attached to this with the camera body and put it on my chest, and it does pull down a little bit because it's a very front heavy lens. However, it has been very capable of taking that weight, which was actually quite surprising for such a small, sleek design. The other thing that I really loved about it was the convenience of it, and it's just so simple to have a camera attached to your chest, and especially for walking around like where we are here in Melbourne. It's just nice for stills. I can have it strapped to my chest. If I need to quickly grab a shot, I can grab the lens. I usually grab the lens with my left hand, push the button in with my right, slip it off, grab the camera with my right hand, lift it up, and I'm usually pretty well good to go and shoot straight away. So it's really, really convenient. It was a little bit pricey, but for the design, and you're paying a little bit for the logo of Peak Design in terms of the actual pricing of it, but it's a really, really good piece of gear. Now, in attaching the capture clip to your bag, It's a little bit tricky on some camera bags, like you can see here on this Xenic bag. Just up close it's sort of squished in a little bit. However, it fits. This thing is not moving anywhere. It's really well secured to the bag, and the rubberized grip section at the back certainly does help with that. Now, I did attach the longer bolts that need an Allen key to be screwed in, and I've actually used those, and they do fit perfectly flush into the back of the camera strap, so that it's not sort of digging into my chest. Now, in terms of the negatives, this does actually come with two types of bolt installations. Now, these are the longer bolts, as I just mentioned, but it does also come with thumb screw versions that are a little bit shorter, but they just didn't reach for this bag, so I really needed the longer ones installed. And on the bolts, it's okay to have the Allen key because it's a pretty well secured and fixed thing on there. But for the actual base of the camera, it's also got a bolt, so you need an Allen key to screw on and unscrew this mounting plate, which is Arca Swiss compatible. So if I'm walking around and it's attached to my chest jeteer, I can take this off, grab a tripod, attach it on, and I'm good to go. This is actually really well suited to most ball heads, and on Siri tripods they're all Arca Swiss compatible, so it's nice to be able to do that and have dual functionality in the same one clip. But like I was saying, this needs an Allen key to be attached, and that is a real bugger because sometimes you just don't need this attached, especially if you are trying to switch with a battery grip or something for commercial work. It just makes it a little bit trickier. So I will get into this in comparison, but the Sunwayfoto version has a coin slot rather than a screw. Personally, I prefer a little pop-up handle to be able to screw it and unscrew it, so I don't have to carry a 10-cent coin or a quarter in the US, if that's a bit more reference for size. It's more convenient to have a coin slot, but yeah, I would prefer a pop-up handle and maybe a coin slot so that there's both options. And I'm sure that one day there will be a pop-up handle version that's slim enough to be able to fit into something like this. So that's one of the negatives. But apart from that and the potential of screwing the bolt in just a little too far that it digs in or scratches your arm when you pull it on, like I have actually done that from the Sunwayfoto one here on my arm, just screwing that in a little too far can be a bit of a nuisance, so you just need to make sure you choose the right size bolt. So now we're going to do a comparison between the Peak Design Capture Clip V3 versus this Sunwayfoto CQC-02. There is also a CQC-01, which is more comparable in size, taking a 7cm bag strap, same as this Peak Design one, whereas this, the number 2, is actually a bit bigger. It takes an 8cm bag strap, and it's designed for much bigger bags, so you can see that through here you've got quite a bit of room for a bag. And these are the longer bolts, which they're actually designed quite well, these bolts, in terms of being a thumb screw as well as having a small Allen key slot, which is quite nice. So you can see that slot if I move it just up to the camera there. So they have been designed quite well. The shorter bolts are black but don't have the Allen key slot, and they are just a thumb screw as well. Personally, I do prefer having all black bolts, so it would be nice if these longer ones were black, but we can't always get the absolute perfect piece of gear. The design works very similarly. You just push in the unlock and it slides out the mounting plate, which is actually pretty much exactly the same and does even fit on the Peak Design version and holds it locked into place. Now, same as the Peak Design version, when the clip is actually in there, if you just want to secure your camera a little bit more, you can do the turning lock, and that won't let you push the camera release in so that you can't get your camera out, or it's a lot less likely to slip. One other real difference is that, like I was saying before, this has got the coin slot rather than a Allen key head, which is much better and definitely more convenient if you're on the go, on the road, traveling, whatever it may be. Apart from that, there's not really much difference except for the price. So I think this Peak Design I paid about 100 Australian dollars for it, whereas this bigger version of this I paid, it's about $89 Australian retail. So there's a small price difference, and then the smaller version, which is basically a comparison to this, is about 79 Australian dollars. Now you can find links to everything down below if you are interested in getting any of these. But apart from that, there's not really much of a difference. Except for a bit of the design aesthetic. The Peak Design has a much curvier, smoother, matte finish. If you're really into aesthetics and brand, then the Peak Design would be for you. But if you're after something functional, easy to use, and quite simple, then Sunwayfoto could be the best option for you. Now the very last thing I want to touch on is just about the actual thumb screw design. The reason I like these flat Allen key heads is because they are just that. They're just a round head, they're not a thumb screw as well. And thumb screws are convenient, don't get me wrong. They're great, they can work very functionally. But for me, I find that if this is on my bag and I'm just getting bored walking around, I might start fiddling with it or twisting it, or it could even accidentally come undone over time, just if you keep knocking it ever so slightly. And that's pretty much the downside for me that I've found with the thumb screws. So having that Allen key head, I personally find just that little bit more securing for the camera, and knowing I've got a bit more sense of security with that attached to my bag. Just before getting into the final recommendation of which of these capture clips may be best for you, here are the details for giving away this brand new Sunwayfoto CQC-02 camera clip. To enter, simply click the link in the description down below and follow along with the prompts. If you want some extra entries, make sure you subscribe to the YouTube channel, like my Facebook page, and follow me on Instagram, and you'll see all the links from the link down below. Thanks for entering, and good luck in winning this camera clip. Let's get on with the rest of the video. So my final recommendation for these is, if you're looking for a well-designed, solid piece of gear that covers pretty well most of the functionality except for those couple of little niggly bits, go for the Peak Design. If you want something that's a little bit more on the affordable side and you're not so worried about the aesthetics, but you still want to keep all the same functionality and arguably a little bit more, go for the Sunwayfoto option. They're both great little camera attachments, and I hope that this recommendation and review has helped in making a decision for you on which to get. If you've enjoyed this video, leave a like, comment down below, subscribe with the bell notification so you don't miss any future videos, and I'll see you in the next one.